What is happening, guys? Let's get straight into today's episode. So welcome back to the channel where we tell all things mythology. Now today, we are going to talk about the Trojan War. Now this is probably one of the most popular stories in all of Greek mythology. It's so ingrained into our culture that there is always this sort of underlying assumption that everyone knows what the Trojan War is. But for those of you who don't, let me just give you a little refresher first. Now before we jump into the story itself, I want to make something very clear. It is well accepted in the academic community that much of the Trojan War story is myth and not meant to be taken literally. However, most scholars also believe that the Trojan War may have been inspired by a series of real conflicts between the Mycenaean Greeks and an ancient city near the coast of what is now Turkey called Troy. So while there may not have been 10 legendary years of fighting, there may have been some fighting. And as always, where there's smoke, there's fire. As always, the story of the Trojan War is deeply rooted in the realm of mythology, where the divine and mortal worlds collide. Before we dive into the tales of heroism and tragedy, please consider subscribing to show your support for our exploration of these timeless stories. Now, let's embark on this legendary journey. The story begins with a grand contest of beauty among the goddesses Hera, Athena, and Aphrodite. Each goddess desired to be recognized as the fairest, and their dispute threatened to disrupt the balance of the cosmos. To resolve their disagreement, they approached the mortal king of Phoenicia, and he was asked to choose among them. But upon witnessing the magnificence of each goddess, he found himself unable to make a decision. However, Aphrodite, eager to secure the title for herself, made a proposition. She promised the king the love of the most beautiful woman in the world, whoever that may be. Unable to resist such an offer, the king accepted, and Aphrodite claimed victory as the fairest. But soon after, she set her sights on Paris, a Trojan prince, renowned for his skill as a hunter and harpist. Aphrodite approached Paris and offered him the chance to win the affection of the most beautiful woman in the world, Helen, the wife of King Menelaus of Sparta. Intrigued and perhaps swayed by Aphrodite's divine allure, Paris accepted her offer and set out to claim Helen as his own. He arrived in Sparta under the cloak of night and successfully abducted Helen, bringing her back to Troy. This act of audacious love or abduction, depending on who you ask, caused a political earthquake. Helen's husband, Menelaus, was outraged by her disappearance, and with the support of his brother, Agamemnon, king of Mycenae, he rallied the Mycenaean Greeks to his cause, vowing to bring Helen back to Sparta. Thus began the long and bloody saga of the Trojan War, which would become one of the most defining moments in ancient Greek history. And when I say that this war was bloody, I do mean it. With Menelaus and Agamemnon leading the charge, the Mycenaean Greeks assembled an impressive force that sailed across the Aegean Sea. The shores of Troy. The Greek army consisted of warriors from various kingdoms, each eager to claim glory and participate in this monumental conflict. Among them were the Achaeans from northern Greece, the Argives from Argos, and the Thebans from Thebes, each bringing their unique battle strategies and military prowess to the war effort. Upon arriving in Troy, the Greeks laid siege to the city, determined to capture it by force. Now, the Trojan War wasn't just a clash of armies. It was a collision of two distinct cultures, two different ways of life. The Greeks represented the rising power of Mycenaean civilization with its advanced military tactics and cultural achievements. The Trojans, on the other hand, embodied the established order, the older way of life that the Greeks were challenging. It was a conflict that went beyond mere land or resources. It was a struggle for supremacy, a battle of ideologies. During the siege, the Greek forces used their superior naval power to blockade the Trojans, hoping to starve them into submission. The Trojans, however, were prepared thanks to their cunning allies, the gods. The goddess of wisdom, Athena, sided with the Trojans, recognizing in them a kindred spirit. In her, the Trojans found a fierce protector and strategist. And with Athena's guidance, they were able to withstand the Greek attacks and defend their city. The goddess's influence over the course of the war was profound. She inspired Trojan warriors, helped them devise strategies, and generally turned the tide of battle in their favor, when it seemed the Greeks would prevail. And then there was the infamous wooden horse. Now, as the war dragged on and neither side could gain a decisive advantage, the Greek leaders devised a brilliant plan. a plan that would change the course of the war forever. They built a large wooden horse, hollowed it out, and hid a small group of soldiers inside it. The next morning, the Greeks pretended to be sailing away, leaving the horse behind as a supposed gift to the Trojans. Unaware of the deception, the Trojans brought the horse into their city as a trophy, believing it to symbolize their victory. However, as darkness fell, the hidden Greek soldiers emerged, opened the city gates, and let the rest of the Greek army in. Troy was caught off guard and quickly fell to the attacking forces. The Trojan War, whether wholly real or partly mythical, holds a prominent place in history. It has inspired countless works of art, literature, and continues to fascinate people around the world. For the ancient Greeks, the Trojan War was more than just a military conflict. It was a defining moment in their cultural and historical memory. It was a story that helped them understand their past, their present, and perhaps even predict their future. The war became a foundation upon which their identity was built. A foundation composed of tales of courage, sacrifice, love, and loss. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Really hope you enjoyed today's episode. We'll see you all next time. Until then, stay safe, stay awesome, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.